Professor Rintal's anterior sensory stalks twitched nervously as he reviewed the day's lesson plan on his holographic display. Cultural Exchange Day at the Galactic Concordance Academy was always challenging, but this cycle promised to be particularly difficult. The humans had arrived. Deathworlders, the Galactic community called them, though never to their faces. Earth, classified as a Class 12 death world, was a nightmare planet where nearly everything evolved to kill everything else. The fact that humans had not only survived but thrived there defied all conventional xenobiological understanding. Rintal's third eye focused on the notification that had arrived that morning. Human students request permission to bring companion organisms for cultural exchange presentation. He had approved it without a second thought. The Xanthari brought their singing crystal colonies. The Morphians brought their bioluminescent moss companions. How dangerous could human pets possibly be? The classroom filled with students from across the galaxy, their varied forms creating a beautiful tapestry of biodiversity. Lena Cross entered last, moving with that peculiar human grace that always unsettled Rintal. She appeared calm, almost serene, with her compressed lips forming what humans called a smile. Behind her floated a containment sphere, its contents obscured by the frosted surface. "Ah, Miss Cross." Rintal's translator chip rendered his clicking speech into Galactic Common. "Welcome. We're eager to learn about human companion organisms." Lena nodded, setting the sphere down gently. "Thank you, Professor. I think everyone will find this educational." The other human students filtered in, each carrying similar containers. Rintal noticed that several alien students instinctively moved away from them, that ancient prey species reflex triggering despite millennia of civilization. The presentations began smoothly. A Vexillian student displayed her pet, a small floating organism that changed colors based on emotional resonance. A Clothorian presented his rock moss, which sang in ultrasonic frequencies. Then it was Lena's turn. She approached the front of the classroom, her movements economical and purposeful. "On Earth," she began, "we share our living spaces with various species. The relationship benefits both parties. We provide food and shelter. They provide companionship and, historically, protection." Protection. The word hung in the air like a threat. Lena deactivated the containment sphere. What emerged made every non-human student in the room freeze in primal terror. The creature was covered in fur, with forward-facing eyes that marked it as a predator. Its mouth opened, revealing rows of pointed teeth designed for tearing flesh. It was compact but muscular, moving with liquid grace that spoke of explosive power. When it made a sound, a deep rumbling vibration, half the class scrambled backward. "This is my cat Vader," Lena said, reaching down to stroke the apex predator. It responded by pressing its head against her hand and producing that terrifying vibration even louder. Rintal's chromatic skin had shifted to panic white. "Miss Cross, that is clearly a predatory species. Why would you bring—" "Oh, Vader's not the only one," another human student, Marcus, interrupted cheerfully. He released his own pet. This creature was larger, with a longer snout filled with even more impressive teeth. Its tail wagged with enough force to be weaponized. When it barked, a deep, resonant sound that echoed through the classroom. 3 students fainted. "This is Rocky. He's a German shepherd," Marcus explained, scratching behind the creature's ears while it panted happily, its tongue lolling out. "Very loyal. Bred from wolves." "Wolves?" Rintal's voice rose several octaves. "You domesticated apex pack hunters?" "Well, yes," Lena said, as if this was the most reasonable thing in the galaxy. "About 15,000 years ago. They're very good boys. More humans released their pets, dogs of various sizes, cats ranging from small to absolutely massive. One student even brought what she called a ferret, an elongated predator that had apparently been used to hunt rabbits down burrows." The classroom had descended into controlled chaos. Alien students pressed against the walls while these Earth predators moved freely among the humans, receiving affection and treats. Vader had jumped onto a desk and was methodically pushing objects off the edge, seemingly for entertainment. Rocky was playing with a human child's toy, a simple ball, shaking it as if breaking Prey's neck. Professor Rintal activated the emergency communication channel. "Security, we have a Code Amber situation in Lecture Hall 7. Multiple unrestrained predators." "Professor," Lena interrupted, her voice still calm but carrying an edge that made Rintal's survival instincts scream. "They're not unrestrained predators. They're family." She picked up Vader, who immediately began that rumbling sound again. "This vibration? It's called purring. It means he's happy and feels safe. Rocky's tail wagging. That's joy. They're not dangerous unless we need them to be. Unless you need them to be? Rintal couldn't process this. Another human student, Sarah, nodded seriously. Cats were ship companions for thousands of years. They controlled rodent populations on our vessels. Dogs have been guards, hunters, rescuers, and warriors alongside us. But mostly, they're just ours. And we're theirs. The security team arrived armed with stun weapons and protective gear, only to stop in confusion at the scene before them. Human students sat calmly, their apex predators lounging peacefully beside them. Marcus was throwing a ball down the hallway, and Rocky was retrieving it with what could only be described as enthusiasm and joy. One of the security officers, a grizzled Thorian veteran, lowered his weapon. By the void, he muttered. They've domesticated their planet's apex predators and turned them into friends. Lena smiled, a genuine expression that somehow made her look more dangerous, not less. Not just friends, partners. When humans left Earth, we didn't leave them behind. We brought them to the stars with us. She looked directly at Professor Rintal. You wanted to understand human culture, Professor. This is fundamental to who we are. We don't just survive on a death world. We form bonds with the creatures that should be our predators or our prey. We make them family. Vader chose that moment to headbutt Lena's chin affectionately, then fixed his predatory gaze on Rintal. The professor realized with creeping horror that this was the true terror of Deathworlders. Not their physical capabilities or their impossible endurance, but their ability to turn nightmares into companions. By the end of the class, several brave alien students had cautiously approached the human pets. A Xanthari even managed to pet Rocky, whose tail wagged so hard it created a minor wind current. The incident report was filed but eventually archived as cultural misunderstanding resolved. But across the galaxy, a new understanding spread about humanity. They were Deathworlders who had looked at their planet's most efficient killers and said, "You're cute. Want to be friends?" And somehow, impossibly, the predators had agreed. Professor Rintal would never look at Cultural Exchange Day the same way again.